Welcome in. Hi, friends. We're so excited to welcome you back to the online summit for Black Girl Gamers. I'm so excited. My name is Asia. That's what you can call me. I'm a variety streamer, a whimsical host, and photographer. So I am so excited to welcome y'all to the Renewing Your Mana host panel. And I will be discussing with Neurospicy gaming therapist about utilizing gaming to support your mental health needs and accessibility hacks that they've learned along the way. Let's meet our panelists. Perfect. Now let's get into it. Now, who wants to go first? That's really always the question, huh?
I'll go first. I don't care. Let's go.
Period.
Hi. I am Cassie, full governmentals and licensures under Cassandra Walker. Same if you want to look me up on LinkedIn. I am a Black, queer, mentally ill, traumatized, whatever you want to call it, trauma therapist, streamer, storyteller, consultant. I do a lot of things. I'm also the founder of my practice, Intersection Center for Complex Healing, as well as the Black Liberation Playday event series, which is currently on pause. I do a lot of stuff, so I'm going to leave it there, but I'm really excited to talk with everyone today.
Yay.
Hello, I am Kat. I am a Neurospicy licensed clinical mental health counselor and avid gamer. I have some trainings where I work with therapists using video games and therapy. I am a contributing author to The Psychology of The Last of Us and Psychology of Bluey. And yeah, excited to be here today.
Wow. Well, welcome in, and I'm so excited to welcome y'all here. We're going to jump right into it, and whoever wants to answer this first can go ahead. But how do you define neurodivergence, and is gaming particularly suited to support neurodivergent individuals?
I can start us out here. The definition of neurodivergence is any brain that processes the world differently than the average brain. But I feel like that definition in itself is kind of incomplete. The current science on the matter is heavily biased towards the cis white male experience, and I think the world is a lot more complicated and nuanced than the binary of neurotypical and neurodivergent. Mental health science still has a long way to go in this regard. Myself
Can
and
we
a lot
also
of
get
women.
the slides, by the way?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Is it the next one?
That's the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the definitions.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the first slide of the definitions. There are multiple.
okay.
Because I'm an overachiever as well.
As you should.
Bye.
As you should. Achievement.
Sorry, Kat.
Oh no, that is okay. I mean, myself and a lot of women have come to recognize late in life that we have ADHD, and I think it's because the science is now just finally catching up with women are different than men. Surprise, surprise. And in regards to is gaming particularly suited for neurodivergent individuals, I think largely the answer is yes. Being neurospicy myself, I feel like a lot of the time I don't fit in this world, and gaming has always provided me with that solace and that safe space that I've always kind of needed.
So
sweet.
So yeah, hi. For me, there is so much like issue in the definitions, which is why there are 7
Absolutely.
different definitions, or 6 different definitions and a section of issues for the slide. Because when we talk about neurodivergence and we're talking about Black folks, right? Like our minds, our brains, our processes, our cultures have always been defined as atypical, a problem. Like the very people like Jung, famous psychologist, right? Like one of his biggest fears and his basis of a lot of illness was the fear of becoming Black, right? And so it becomes really difficult. Huh?
The fear of becoming Black?
Oh yeah, for those who don't know, hi, I'm chocked full of knowledge of stuff, especially racism in my profession. And so your famous old white guys, a lot of them, the basis of a lot of their theories were based on a deep-seated fear of the quote-unquote primal, which is how they defined and described Black folks. So when we talk about things like neurodivergent, it's not just an issue of like the drift of the meaning, which used to just encompass kind of autism, ADHD, Tourette's, and other neurological and neurodevelopmental disorders, and now issues again, and now also tends to encompass things like psychosis and schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and OCD. But it's also a matter of, if you're Black, it's a little rough for multiple reasons. So if you go to the next slide, you have other terms that Black and other, oh wait, go back one.
Different slide.
There we go.
Okay,
The
yeah,
terminology
there.
2 slide. You've got terms like neuroexpansive, neurospicy, neurodistinct that have been coined for folks who fall outside of what normal ever was defined as. And so for me, that's why sometimes I struggle with the term neurodivergent, because I'm not one of those original diagnoses. I'm one of the expanded diagnoses. But as far as the use for gaming, I think yes and no. There are some games that are like great. There are other games that accessibility wise like are a nightmare for some folks, especially if you get overstimulated easily, especially like epilepsy and things like that. Sometimes like things have gotten a lot better, but overall I think for most things it's a double-edged sword. But there's a lot of really awesome ways to use games and gaming, video game, analog, otherwise, for neurodiverse folks.
Wow. I'm still stuck on this. I'm trying to get over it, but the fear of being
Oh man, dude, I will throw dirt on any of your fave old white guy like theorists because they were all racist as hell, and it's terrifying that those are the theories that we are using now to try and quote unquote heal Black folks. It's why the profession is so fraught, and it's why it can be really hard to find really good assistance and care for mental health, neurodiversity, the whole bit. It's also why these terms are so hard, is because of the issues with getting a diagnosis. Like up until recently, Black folks were almost 3 times less likely to receive an accurate autism diagnosis than their white counterparts, and they're more likely, Black and Latino children are more likely to be diagnosed as oppositional defiant or one of the other very stigmatized, very policed diagnoses. And then as adults, there's actually diagnoses that are no longer used and ones that have drifted. But schizophrenia was originally, one of the ways that it was known was protest psychosis. We used to diagnose Black people who wanted their rights with schizophrenia.
What?
And to this day, like I have had situations where as recently as a couple of years ago, there was an article about a Black game dev who had issues in the workplace and went for mental health assistance and was diagnosed with delusions for discussing the racism that he suffered. So it's one of those things where when we are talking about these things, right, I have this quote from the founder of Black Neurodiversity group on social media. The more marginalized identities you hold, the less you have access to the privilege of unmasking. Put simply, the further your way of being is from a cis white heterosexual male, the less access you have to safely unmask. Because to unmask is to be one's true and authentic neurodistinct self. Yet, we still live in a society dominated by standards of normal and appropriate that place blackness, queerness, and other marginalized identities as deficits and or threats. There is a safety required for unmasking that Black neurodistinct people are not granted, because once we unmask our neurodistinct behaviors, our Blackness still remains. And so in games, that's hard too, right?
Yeah. It is. And to kind of touch on that a little bit, but what is the reality when it comes to how gaming and mental health intersect? Because gaming has had such a negative PR to outside communities over the years, and where is that kind of merging of those facets?
I think there still is a large stigma, and I think rightfully so in some communities. I mean, all you have to do is sit in a Call of Duty lobby for a few minutes, and you will understand where that stigma comes from. I mean, there's still a lot of harassment and things like that happening in the communities. But as far as the reality of the intersect and gaming and mental health, I feel like they lend each other like beautifully to us, one another. A lot of modern games coming out now have a mental health focus, and there are numerous benefits that we are starting to see in the research that is coming out.
Yeah, what are some of those? Oh, so sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. I was also gonna say, because let's go ahead and go here, because especially with like autism, ADHD, and like just in general hyper focus, you can see it with mania too. The reality is that medicalizing coping and like symptoms is a problem that we have, and gaming is getting sucked into that with like gaming addiction as a diagnosis that literally no research backs at the moment.
Yep.
And was a political move funded actually by governments in really weird ways. And so the reality is that just like with anything, any medication, any coping mechanism, too much of a good thing is no longer a good thing. And gaming has some really significant positive impacts, both for socializing, for skill building, for understanding yourself, for exploring and understanding your experiences, that I think really don't get looked at enough, especially in Black and other diverse populations, because we're still too busy trying to get people to read the research and stop the satanic panic and stop being like, oh, games cause violence. That's patently untrue, and we've known that now for decades.
Yeah,
because violence causes violence. Let's be serious. I mean, y'all are the therapists, so I'm sure y'all have a more in-depth understanding of how it starts from concept to execution. And that's so insane to me. I have never played GTA and thought,
right.
That's a real life. Like,
Right.
Let's be serious here. That's so wild. But yeah, along that kind of line, what are some of the most common accessibility barriers that neurodivergent individuals face when gaming? Like what are those obstacles that they're kind of overcoming?
I think Cassie already listed a great one of a sensory overload with lights, haptic feedback on the controller. It can be extremely overwhelming. I know a big one for me is like a non-intuitive interface where the game, it's super unpredictable. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. The inventory system on Red Dead Redemption 2 leaves me overwhelmed and frustrated every time I play.
I didn't even think about the haptics because I feel like maybe I've always been like, why is this irritating me so much?
Right.
But I never really knew what the problem was, and that might be because controller shake for me. I don't love that. I'm in the middle of an Apex fight, and all of a sudden the controller's rumbling, and I'm stressed. My anxiety through the roof. Too much. Yeah. But kind of continuing along with these accessibility barriers, how does intersectionality interface with how therapy is entering the gaming space? Like, where do you come in and kind of break those walls down?
Yeah, I think that for intersectionality, there's a big chunk missing. Folks who are looking at mental health and entering games are not hiring diverse consultants. When they do hire consultants, they're hiring a lot of white folks who don't and have never worked with Black populations, Latina populations, queer populations, like neurodiverse populations. And it's really showing in what we're getting. A lot of stuff is really based on these therapeutic modalities that have been shown to be suboptimal at best for those populations. And so you end up with therapy games or mental health modalities that don't work the way that you would think for the populations you do, and the ones that do work they're not the mainstream ones, and then they don't have great gameplay. And so there's this effort to make a therapeutic game versus understanding why people find the games that exist therapeutic as is. So kind of the way that we're going about it and the leaving out of the consultants who do both is it shows, and it shows in a lot of the companies that are popping up and being very opportunistic, while leaving out the fact that a lot of our conceptualizations of the mind and therapy and what is healing are culture bound.
Culture bound in what way?
So even with the DSM, which is what, if you're in the United States, it's what you use, if you're literally anywhere else in the world, you're using the ICD. And so the DSM is, I'm in the US, so I use the DSM, unfortunately.
Sorry.
The Diagnostic Statistical Manual, it's what you use to, it's the big book, it's the mental health Bible, essentially. It's got all the diagnoses in it. And the symptoms, part of the reason why an accurate diagnosis is so difficult for Black people to get is because the research is based on white populations, and the symptoms don't match up with our experiences. And so what you see is not accurate, and therefore we have one of the highest rates of misdiagnoses as far as population goes, is Black folks. And so even when you do bring your child or you bring yourself in for testing to get an accurate diagnosis of ADHD or autism or such, it's still really difficult to get an accurate diagnosis the first time. And given that these things cost hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on whether or not you have insurance and whether your insurance is willing to cover it, like it's a distinct problem. And so that's what I mean by culture bound, is like whether you express your depression by overworking or underworking tends to have something to say with how you were raised and cultural values. And so if only underworking or underperforming is listed as a possible symptom for that, then you're going to be kind of SOL when being diagnosed.
Okay, got it. So basically, like, the way that we grow up affects us culturally more than what is available in the diagnoses that have been presented right now. Is that right? Am I understanding that right?
In a nutshell, there's a lot to it. That's a separate talk.
Okay, got it. But okay,
we could talk about this all day.
Right, and you know what? And I love that, because I love the mental health aspect. I think it's so important. I think it's so important for us to be gracious when we come to people talking about, I think this person did this thing to me. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I digress, because like Cassie said, that's a talk for another day. How do you integrate gaming with traditional therapeutic approaches? So can you provide examples of those techniques that complement each other?
Well, there is a therapy modality that is called play therapy. It is, exactly what it sounds like, processing, conceptualizing the world through play. So video games goes hand in hand with that. There's also sand tray therapy, which with sandbox video games, you can do exactly what you would with the therapy, but through video games as the tool.
Oh, okay.
And then
Cute.
I work with adults, and my focus is trauma and identity, those intersections. And so I actually use a lot of tabletop role-playing games, and then there's also games that we'll talk about in a minute, with their that can help folks organize themselves, but utilizing TTRPG character sheets to help people organize the different ways that they've kind of segmented themselves, their parts. Some might have heard IFS is one parts modality. Yeah. There are others. Using that in order to help people build their team, and then think about how their team does and doesn't work with each other, and how to remedy those things is one of the ways that I use games in my work.
Yay.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about some of the games?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
And they're a what, Kat?
Oh, I was going to say another modality that's very kind of closely aligned with the parts work and TTRPGs is narrative therapy that I do a lot with the video games. Like the game Life is Strange. It's beautiful narrative story, but you can utilize it to explore and process through themes like identity, choices, values. So narrative games also are great for that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I would have never thought that, because I feel like narrative games, I like when, are you narrating, or are they narrating to you? Like they have a voiceover? Is that the idea behind it?
Like a narrative storyline, and you can look through like their choices and the way that it impacts them and how they move through the game with the storytelling.
Okay, got it. I had a whole different concept of that, and that's fine.
That's okay.
No worries.
But yeah, what would be another, I guess, like choice game that would be similar to Life is Strange? And that
Baldur's Gate.
Oh.
I have used that a lot in therapy. It is so great for so many reasons. Kind of like Cassie said with creating a character. I spent like 3 hours on building my character in Baldur's Gate because I knew exactly what I wanted, how I wanted to express and explore myself. So you can do that. You can explore, the choices. Baldur's Gate also is unique in that it kind of gives you a sense of control, where a lot of clients are coming into my office and they're like, my life is out of control, all these things are happening to me, and so it provides that safe space where you're like, I can have control. And then on the flip side, it gives you a space to kind of cope when things are outside of your control. If you roll a natural 1, you are forced to deal with, how am I going to move forward?
Oh, that's a really sweet concept. You know what? Let me open Baldur's Gate 3 back up. Let me
do it.
Some more of the storyline, because I'm a looter. I just be in there looting everybody. I don't play that game the way that probably other people are supposed to be. Right. And have you made just one character, or have you made multiple?
Multiple, and I get the encumbrance all the time.
Okay. We're the same, and that's fine. That's great. Love to know it. I love to feel seen. What specific mental health benefits have you observed in clients who incorporate gaming into their therapy?
Yeah. Also, did we want to actually want to go
games
through the game the games on the slides?
Absolutely. Spirit City Lo-Fi sessions.
Yeah, this is one that I added to our kind of recommendations list that we have here, because Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions is a gamified productivity game system, whatever you want to call it. And essentially you make an avatar, and so you can, again, character create, make it look kind of like you and everything, and then you are in a space, and you can change where you're at, what activity your avatar is doing. But it's got a Pomodoro timer, it's got a to-do list that you can cross out, and as you are working and as you're going through things, it's also got either calming sounds, or it's got lo-fi, as it alludes to, you level up as you use it, and so you also get that little dopamine hit of you get little buddies that are cute that also you can customize, and I like.
Cute.
So,
they look cute.
yeah, I know we're running out of time, so we can.
I know.
speed
You want to
through
do
the
one more? Is there
games.
one more on here that you want to? I can click through them. Animal Crossing. Oh yeah, absolutely. Are there any that you know
I had
that you
to
want?
put this one on here.
Okay.
I knew that it was kind of like one of the givens because it's like the ultimate cozy game, but it almost single-handedly got me through COVID, so I needed to put it here. I mean, what isn't there to love about Animal Crossing? You get to create your avatar. There are the cutest little villagers that you get to interact with, and it kind of creates a sense of like community, companionship. There is super relaxing activities like fishing and gardening and decorating your house. It has just all of the things you need to help kind of alleviate stress.
I feel like fishing is the thing that I don't like in all of the cozy games. And is that a neurodivergent thing, or is that just a preference thing? I don't know. In
Stardew Valley, it is rough until you get further in the game. Yeah,
exactly.
Stardew is a struggle.
Yeah,
it depends on the fishing mechanics. Some fishing mechanics are fine, and others no.
yeah, and that goes to that like the UI design and how it can be like an accessibility barrier for neurodivergent.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because that the moving up and down, I don't know, all of it's overstimulating. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. So we'll answer this last question before we head off to the next session. But what specific mental health benefits have you observed in clients who incorporate gaming into their therapy? And we can start with Cassie and then go to Kat.
Yeah, I mean, again, it like anything from just being able to decompress, folks using things like Spirit City, feeling more productive, feeling more able to do things and to break their tasks down in ways that feel good while giving themselves breaks. Tales of Kenzra is on the list, and is, I've had a lot of folks feel really good about that game as they are processing grief. And so, folks being able to decrease their anxiety, being able to connect with people better over games. So yeah.
I could talk about this for days. I'll try to narrow it down. I think on the point of grief, I mean, the game Spiritfarer was pivotal, like in my mental health journey and processing through the narrative of grief that I have been struggling with for years. I don't know that I would have been able to process through it in the traditional talk therapy sense. I really did need Spiritfarer. I think another great benefit for myself and other ADHDers is video games really work on highly developing like time management skills. Like in Pikmin 3, when it goes sundown, if you don't have all of your little minions in, there's that natural consequence of the monsters coming out. And so it helps create a sense of heightened time awareness and helps prioritize tasks throughout the day.
Oh, I love that. I feel like I motivate myself to play games. Like if I'm like, I have 9 chores to do, if I do 4 of them, then I can start the game. And that's been the best.
Yeah, I reward myself with Stardew Valley days. I'm like, okay, just one day, then I do 3 more tasks, then I get another day in Stardew.
Exactly. Well, yeah. If you want to give your introduction, Kat, since you're chatting about your gaming therapy, you want to give your where everybody can find you, where everyone can follow along, and then we'll go Cassie.
Well, thanks for having me. This has been a blast. I'm so excited that conversations like this are happening. I do have a lot of stuff going on, trainings, books coming out. You can find me and my content on LinkedIn, follow, connect with me there.
Perfect.
And yeah, hi, I've been Cassie. I am on all the things, but it's all different. It's a scavenger hunt. So you can find me Cassandra Walker, LCSW on LinkedIn. You can find me at Mental Woke on Twitter. You can find me Intersections CCH on Blue Sky, and Intersections LLC on Instagram. I am hopefully going to have a new season of my podcast, Woke Mental Wellness, where we play TTRPGs and discuss mental health topics coming out. Hopefully we're going to record it this year and release it next year. So yeah, I'm all over the place. Come find me. I'm also available for consulting and things. So if you like me, like, hire me and pay me.
Oh, period. I know that's right, and pay me. That would be great. As always, I am Call Me Asia. That's what you can call me. I'm Asia. That's what you can call me. I'm a photographer, a whimsical host and content creator. You can find me, Call Me Asia, on everything, Asia with a Z. And I am so thankful to Cassie and Kat for talking with me about these things. And also, do y'all see the slide? Do y'all see how cute this is? Hello, with a little health bar. Like, y'all ate this up. Y'all did.
I made the slides.
You did. You kind of. I just want everybody to see. I just want y'all to see them real quick. Like, this is cute. I'll click.
Oh, if you go to the last one, it's got our contact, our emails.
Oh, period. There we go. We're going to leave this up just for a moment to remind the audience, if you are sticking around, make sure that you're following the schedule, and make sure that you go to the right stages for each panel. That way you can stay up to date on everything going on. And we will say our last goodbyes. Thank you so much. Bye.